What's going on, guys? It's another Actually, it's been a minute since I've put an episode out on the podcast, the Green Bay Health Project podcast, and we are talking with Katie Schlueter, coach, CrossFit 920, competitive CrossFit athlete. But we are going to dive into Rumble on the Bay, September 16th. This has been ongoing for some years now, and I did it last year, not this year. But it's a really cool event, well run, and we thought that it'd be cool to talk more about it. And I'm really interested in this, the how it got started, because I don't think I know that. So yeah, that's I'm rambling. Tell me a little bit more about that. I'm curious about the backstory.
Yeah, so this is going to be our 5th year. And yeah, I was going to tease you. I was say you're probably glad Hannah had a couple different partners she was approached by.
I saw that though, and I was
she
like,
felt bad. She did feel bad that she missed your message, and then I think that was the very same day you guys ended up having the baby. So
it worked out.
Yeah, you're probably like, okay, with my lack of sleep, I'm okay not competing.
That's crossed my mind a few times. Yeah.
But yeah, so this is our 5th year. It's funny how it got started. I had done a bunch of different competitions. People in our gym had done a bunch of competitions. There were competitions in the area, but it was always something that we as a gym wanted to do, was put on a competition. But our space itself isn't great for like holding the amount of people that we wanted to have in a competition. So at the time, the Green Bay Booyah baseball team, they were building their stadium, and their rep was coming around looking for like stadium sponsors, and stopped in here, was talking to Matt, and Matt was like, yeah, we'll sponsor the stadium. And then they showed us how they were planning on hosting events out at the stadium. And Matt was like, well, can we host a CrossFit competition out there? And they said, sure. And then I walked in the door, and Matt was like, hey, this is Brian. He's from the Green Bay Booyah, and we're going to host a competition at their stadium. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. That's funny. And he's like, no, like, we're going to host a competition out there in the summer. And that's kind of where it went from there. So I didn't really know what I was doing. Matt and I decided to kind of we were co-directors basically.
Okay.
I had obviously the background in competing in competition, so I knew what I liked about different competitions and what I didn't like. And I'm also a little OCD. So from there, we just were like, okay, well, what do we want this to look like? We knew that we weren't going to have a rig like a traditional CrossFit competition. Matt also is super creative and has a background in the strongman, powerlifting, that sort of stuff. And so he was like, well, I don't really care that we don't have a rig. My goal is to make this like as creative as possible, as fun as possible. We want it to be partners. So, and make it like focused on teamwork, and have to make teams think about what they're doing together. So the first year our goal was to have 50 teams, and we actually exceeded that the very first year when we had it.
Nice.
That first year I was so nervous because there was so much background that went into it. Luckily our gym is awesome, and so people were more than willing to step in and volunteer and to judge and do equipment, and the day before load basically our entire gym into a couple trucks and bring it across town and unload it. And then it was that first day was really long. We actually did it in August, so it was super hot.
I was wondering that. Yep.
But it was so fun to see. My favorite part is just like I put in, and Matt put in, and our Rumble team put in a ton of work, and to see that how much fun people had was like the best part. And so yeah, we did it. The next year was actually our second year was 2020.
Okay.
There was a lot of up in the air in terms of what was going to happen. CrossFit competitions weren't really going on. There were still a lot of different mandates. We pushed off the date into September, so that's how we ended up going with a September date. And that was one of our largest years actually, because we were able to have it outside. We could kind of get around some of the different mandates that were going on because we were outside and we took precautions, and people were really, really excited to get out and do something. So we had a really big year that year. And then we've just continued it from there. And yeah, so we're coming up to the 50 team mark this year. So that means about 100 athletes. I think at the most we've ever had was about 160 athletes.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's
but so we're headed for about 100 this year. And the really cool thing is we get a lot of people from our gym. It's almost comforting for people to compete at a competition that's run by people they know. But the cool thing is that this year, I feel like we have a lot more teams from outside gyms from around the area and around just Wisconsin. A lot of gyms I had never heard of before. So that's always really exciting to get our name out there and have them put on a good competition for them so that they can hopefully go back and talk us up, because that's how we get our stuff out there, really, is people compete and then tell their friends how fun it was.
Right.
And now I'm rambling, but
it's what we do.
one of the things that we really try for this competition is, we have an RX division, and we have all the divisions, but we really like catering to like those beginner athletes, those people that aren't quite sure if competing is for them. We love being able to set up workouts and make them feel super welcome and have events that everyone feels like they can do and be successful at. Because we have a lot of people that maybe this is the only competition they'll ever do, or it's the first competition they're ever going to do. And the goal is to make them have as much fun as possible so that they remember it as a good day.
Right. No, I think that's what's cool. I mean, first of all, like the thought process behind it, I can't really imagine putting something like that on, because there's a lot of work. But like you said, a ton of help. But it was such a well-run event. Like from start to finish, it was smooth. You knew what was expected. You knew who was up. Like you guys it's pretty clear you put a lot of work into it. And it's a fun thing to do. Like it wasn't like, I mean, obviously the workouts are tough, but I think working with the team, you guys, it's cool to see one another balance each other out a little bit, which I think is special. And like you said, work together just brings a whole nother element to the workouts.
Yeah. And just to go to the organization part, I have a really awesome team of people that help me so that I don't have to do worry about everything myself, because that's the kind of person I am. I would do everything myself, but Val is my athlete coordinator. So once we kind of get closer, she sends out all my athlete emails. She gets everyone organized. I send her the heat schedule. She gets all the athletes in place and runs that for the whole day. Kevin and Q and Chris, Kevin's kind of goes all over, but Q and Chris really head up my equipment team, making sure that all the lanes have all their equipment out in time, the right equipment. We've got a crew for that. And then we have Tony that usually is up in our booth. And he really keeps us on track with timing. He's really stingy about that. And Matt and I are as well, but he like has us on a strict time. And so that's really important to us too, like just to, like you were saying, so it's a well-run event. So you don't have to worry about anything except doing the workouts and working with your team. So, but I have to give credit to my team of people that do all that other stuff, because like then I don't even have to worry about that. I just know it's going to get done.
Yeah, that's cool, and that's what I mean makes an event like the Rumble operate well and run well. So the workout, like all the workouts have been dropping. I know you guys have been putting those out the last few weeks. Can you talk a little bit about the thought process behind those? And maybe not the thought process isn't the right word, but just more about the workouts themselves.
Yeah. So Matt and I design all the workouts. And the first really in my mind is, what can we make that's different from something we've done in the past? And what is exciting for if you're a spectator? Obviously, you want it to be exciting and fun for the athletes, but also we're on a big field. So to sit and watch someone row calories or bike and that's it and stand on a platform isn't super exciting. So we always try to get some sort of movement up and down the field, which means we end up doing a lot of partner wheelbarrow walks, you know, where you hold your partner's feet and your partner is moving their hands down the field. We've done plate pushes in the past. And last year we started to incorporate burpee broad jumps, which we discovered wrecked people. So we put them in this year, but a little bit different. And then because Matt and I do all the programming at 920, sometimes we'll program a workout and we'll like look at each other and be like, that was kind of fun. We should incorporate something to that effect into the Rumble. Just because we do. So that's kind of even where our complexes have come from, our heavy lifting complexes have come from the past 2 years is just stuff we've done in class and been like, oh, that would be a good complex to do. The second workout, and I haven't really announced the order, but the second workout of the day has some barbells where if we're partners, I'm doing a barbell movement and you have to hold the barbell. That one, we actually I had it written and then we did a workout in class and I had the class do the holding. And after we did that, I was like, ooh, that adds a really terrible element to it. So that's how that got added. And then the funny thing is people knew those two workouts for a long time. And to be honest, and this happens every year, like we don't know all of the workouts when we put this out in June. I had a workout and I went back and forth and I said to Matt, I'm not 100% sold on this workout. I've tested it with a couple people. I'm not confident to put this out there because if I put this out there, I'm afraid I'm going to want to change it.
Right.
And that's where Matt is so helpful because his brain, he's just so creative in the way that he thinks sometimes, where when I was stuck, we go back and forth on like what to do. And so I said, well, we haven't released the floater. Here's what we have planned for the final event. Like, do we move things around, put this into a workout, put something else in the floater? And that's how we came up with the last workout, which last year in our final event, we wanted to add wall balls in, but we weren't quite sure how to do that. And then we walked out to the stadium, and this happens every year too. We walked out to the stadium and we were like, whoa, look at those soccer nets. We could use those.
So that's how that happened, huh?
We took the net, yeah. So we took the nets off the soccer. Like we were like, can we use your soccer nets? And I'm sure the Rockers our guy at the Rocker Stadium was like, sure.
Yeah, right.
What? And so we took the nets off actually, and we did learn from last year, we will not be crumpling them up in a corner because they were awful to put back on. We will be placing them nicely to the side.
Smart.
But we did wall balls over to your partner over the pole, and it was really, really hard for people, but it was also really fun. So that's the plan for this year, to have those soccer posts. And then have all the teams do that. So I knew we wanted to have that. And that's kind of how the third workout formed with the row. We have a rower. We have wall balls over the soccer beam. And then we have synchro dumbbell snatches. And the last movement is another one we've never done, a box relay step over. And so we've never done like box jumps or step overs or anything like that. So we kind of just it's a made up movement. I'm sure people have done it somewhere else, but that's, you were like, well, let's do it like this. And then, but we always want to make the floater fun. So I'm kind of going through our process on how we come up with everything. And the floater's a funny one. Because of the amount of teams we have, we always try to run 2 lanes. So I guess they did get lucky. Originally, we were going to be renting I'm trying to think what they're called, like a rescue dummy.
Okay.
From
like a CPR thing?
No, they're heavy, like the ones a paramedic or a firefighter would practice with.
Got it. Yep.
like I don't know, I can't remember what they're called,
Yeah,
but
me either.
we were gonna actually have teams drag those down the
Oh
field,
man.
but we could only get one.
Okay.
So we pivoted from there, and then a couple of years ago, Matt got his hands on like electrical beams,
Okay.
like big electrical poles.
Uh-huh.
The first year we used them for burpee jump overs, like people did burpees and they jumped over them. Last year they were what we used in the floater. We did
Oh, we had
balance
the
beams.
balance. We had to run
They were the
across them.
balance beams.
Yeah.
And this year we're gonna put them back up onto those supports,
Mm-hmm.
but now people have to throw the 100-pound D-ball over that.
Okay.
And then we always work with Pomps. Pomps Tires is always one of our sponsors, and we always get some sort of tires for them. This year the tires are going to be in the floater, and then teams will flip the tire as many
Okay.
times as they can.
Nice.
So,
So
and
fun
then
will
our
be had.
final,
Yeah,
our
that's what I was gonna
final
ask.
one, we always like to get something new that we've never used before.
Mhm.
We did get that.
Nice.
I had it ordered to my house. So the funny thing is, no one here competing, you normally all the equipment gets delivered to the gym. Last year we had wheelbarrows. So of course everyone sees the wheelbarrows.
Right.
And now I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, just using the wheelbarrows. I'm like, are you practicing for the Rumble? No. I'm like, you're lying, but
Right.
I get it. So this year I had them all delivered to my house.
Smart.
So people don't know what it is.
Right.
Matt and I are going out on Monday to test the element out on the field.
Nice. That's
So
cool.
hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll do what we want it to do.
Yeah, that's cool. Sounds like a solid lineup there.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
You never know, especially with the temperature.
I was gonna say
Like
that
last
turf
year,
climbs
I was
quite a
gonna
bit
say, so
too.
you remember last year,
Mhm.
we had it was a really fun event, but it had the thrusters and the burpee broad jumps, and unfortunately, it was like it got so hot on the field that we actually had teams that had to drop out
Okay.
after that event because of how hot it got, and they
Yeah.
overexerted on that event. So
Mhm.
even just being for us a little bit strategic in terms of like knowing if that one event is going to be later in the day and playing around with how hot it's going to be on
Right.
the turf.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have that to think about. Obviously, like I said, we want it to be fun. We don't want people to be passing out, anything
Yeah.
like that. But UPS store is actually donating all of our water this year
Nice.
because they can print their logos on it.
Ah,
So
okay.
they'll be having water down on the field for everyone, which will be awesome. And then I don't know if you or Erica will be there or
I
Tia
think we'll
or
both be there. Both
so you
Eric
guys
and
will
I.
be
Maybe
there.
she might be bringing Little Man Link with her.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm sure Joanna will make an appearance there at
Yeah.
some point too.
Yeah, no, that'll be cool. And that kind of leads into something else I was hoping to pick your brain about. And I know you guys have a podcast episode on this, like competition nutrition. And I
Yeah.
actually listened to it last year prior to the Rumble. And I thought that was one really interesting, two super helpful. So what are and then the elements of the heat and the turf, and you know that whole thing of like carb load the night before when really that's not doing a whole lot for you. So what have you used in the past that's worked well for you, and what can some of these athletes do to kind of prep themselves from a nutrition standpoint to perform well on the day?
Well, I think when I think about competition nutrition, it really should, we're about a month out from the competition now, a little less. And so those athletes should start thinking about that now. Start doing workouts and eating and playing around with how do you feel, are you eating enough so that every day you come into the gym, you're feeling recovered? Are you sleeping well? And if you're not sleeping well, you don't feel recovered when you're coming into the gym, something you got to figure that out now because it'll be too late by the time you get to the competition.
Mhm.
And the competition day is going to be, for some people, something they've never done before
Mhm.
in terms of just the amount of work they're doing in one day. Some people, if they're in the final event, they're doing 5 events.
Right.
Not of all of them are super long, but that's still 5 events. That's putting a lot of strain on your muscles. So figuring out right now, what are you eating prior to working out, especially, and what are you eating after you're working out? Um, some people can eat whatever they want before workouts and feel fine. And some people put the littlest amount of food in their stomach and feel like they want to throw up the whole time. So playing around with how close can I eat to when I work out, maybe even testing doing a workout and then resting and then going for a run and seeing how you feel between those two. Testing out, I know I always tell my athletes practice like a marathoner would, where you're taking carbs in the middle between workouts. You know, those little applesauce packets that you feed your toddler are great. Anything like that. Even some people, their stomach is okay with things like candy to really give them a kickstart. But that's the biggest thing right now is how do you feel on an everyday basis? If you don't feel great in your workouts on an everyday basis, it's going to be amplified when you get to that day of competition. So when you're thinking about leading up to the competition, especially that week before, you want to increase those good carbohydrates, whether that be like rice, potatoes, vegetables, that are going to kind of stay in your system, help your body recover that entire week leading up to the competition. Getting your protein in, really helping your muscles recover, and then not changing anything you do the night before. You know, don't go out, and I'm sure I said this on that podcast, don't go out and like eat a giant spaghetti dinner. Don't go out and eat something like, don't go out and plan to have a giant meal that you've never had before, because you don't know how you're going to feel the next morning. And then making sure you have enough food. One really cool thing this year, unfortunately, we can't have them in the stadium just because of the stadium sponsorships. But Fox Valley Meal Prep
I saw that
is one of our sponsors, and so in a couple days, actually, probably early next week, I'm going to send all of our athletes an email, and Fox Valley Meal Prep is giving them a little discount on some meals, and they will be outside the stadium delivering those meals on the day of the event.
Oh, that's cool.
So our athletes can actually order meals that are going to be great for their intra workout meals, and even their post meals right from Fox Valley Meal Prep on that morning. Pick them up, bring them into the stadium.
That's solid. Making it easy.
We're really excited about having them to be there for our athletes, and they'll have a couple extra meals, I think they said, to give or to sell for anyone that maybe didn't pre-order. But we're going to push all our athletes to make sure that that's super easy. You don't even have to think about, especially if you're traveling, you don't even have to think about bringing food, because you can have it delivered right there in the morning.
That's solid.
Yeah, so they're awesome. I'm really excited to try their meals. I actually met the owners last week. They came up to the gym.
Okay.
They were both really cool. So if you're in the area, you should check them out.
Yeah, I've heard good things about them.
I know.
Cool.
I just talked to them, and they just started doing like build your own meals to kind of fit, maybe if you follow macros or if you have a specific amount of protein or carbs you're trying to get in a day, that you can actually build your own meal. And then they also have the pre-built meals.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you guys are just really taking care of everything for the athletes this year.
That's the plan. Yeah, we have, this year especially, I just started emailing companies, like aside from our sponsors, like our sponsors have been amazing this year. Pella Windows and Doors is our major sponsor again, helping us out. But then we have a lot of returning sponsors, and then some new ones, just by putting it out there. Like I said, that's how we found Fox Valley Meal Prep. We've got Black Sheep Bar and Grill are a new one for us.
Nice.
And then obviously we have Mass Art Chiropractic, and then you guys for our PT portion. But yeah, I almost didn't even have enough space on our banners. We have so many. But our prize packs are really cool too, because I just started emailing companies and I said, like, look, we're planning for about 120 athletes. What could you send us? And it was, some companies said, no, sorry, we don't do that, or we're out. We've already reached our limit this year. And some were like, yeah, sure, I'll send you a ton of samples. So garage right now is just filled with boxes of different samples from Element and Strong Coffee. I've got
Nice.
some stuff from actually PDQ Car Wash. I've got some coupons for
Solid.
them.
Nice.
And I should be having some come from RPM. I was supposed to. They told me they were. I haven't gotten them yet. So hoping they come soon. Otherwise, I got to reach out to them. And just some other stuff that's going to make our prize pack really cool. Because that's the other thing too. With if you're going to compete and you're going to stand on a podium, it's important to us that you get something for that, for your hard work. So
Sure.
we try to give out a little bit of money based on how many teams we get, how much we bring in, how much equipment we're purchasing. I mean, majority of our money goes right back into the competition. So
Yeah.
we come out ahead, but we really don't keep all that much of it.
Yeah.
Because we're putting it on for the athletes.
Right.
So we actually have everybody on the podium gets a banner, again from the UPS store, one of our sponsors, and then the event t-shirts, Tundra Apparel and Promotions. They are awesome. I know you guys go through them.
We go through too. Yep.
So Chris from there, I was just emailing him. He's awesome with that. And then one of our members here has a 3D printer, and he's actually printing all of our trophies.
Nice.
So 30 trophies he's 3D printing for us, which is awesome. And then we have Terry Brown Photography. She'll be out doing photography so that everybody kind of feels like they're a pro. Get some cool pictures of themselves. And then we'll have our videographers from Spartan Media Works.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And they've done videos for us in the past, and they'll be out again to make a really cool video for us.
Man.
Of the day. So we'd like, for these people that they're not professional athletes, but like to have that experience to feel like one. That's a big thing for us, just like to make people feel really special and feel like they, everyone's cheering for them and rooting for them. And yeah, it's a competition, but we're all there for the same reason. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, you guys got it all figured out. It sounds like it's going to be a real solid year and event.
Yeah, we're coming down to the end. So my brain is like, I got to make judging sheets. I have to contact the volunteers. I got to do all the nitpicky stuff now. So that's when I get kind of crazy because now I really have to buckle down and get all the nitpicky stuff done.
Yeah.
Set the schedule so I can get that out to the athletes. So
a lot of work, but worth it.
It is worth it. So, and we're hoping to add to our resume and add in a competition in the spring over at Synergy, actually.
Nice. Okay.
Are they in Hobart? Howard?
Yeah,
area?
Hobart. Yeah, De Pere area. Yep.
Okay, De Pere area. Wherever I know Matt said it. So we're hopefully we can add that in. And
that'll be cool.
Something to do in the spring too.
Nice. That'll be awesome. And then real quick, last question. When does registration close?
So we'll keep registration open up until the week before, just so we make sure we have enough lanes and everything's all set. If teams want to make sure that they get a team sign and the event t-shirts, I have to get those numbers to our vendors by September, the first week in September. So we're saying September 1st, if you want to make sure you get an event t-shirt and a team sign. But we'll take registrations, I think, then for about another week.
Cool.
But,
Plenty of time, but get them in earlier.
Honestly, I'm a sucker. So if someone at the end is like, we really want to get in, like, I'm not going to say no.
Sure.
I'll figure it out.
Right.
It adds a little stress, but at the same time, our goal
stress. Why not?
We're there for the athletes. So if they want to compete, I'll let them compete.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Awesome, Katie. Well, thanks for taking time. This is going to be a solid event. Looking forward to seeing it and being part of it.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for letting us chat about it.
Absolutely. And we'll put links out to everything too. So be sure to check that out.
Awesome. Yeah. Right, and if anyone wants to check it out, by the way, we do a lot of communication on Facebook, Rumble on the Bay, or our website, CrossFit920.com has the link right there to Rumble.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll make sure to add that to everything as well so people can easily click on it.
Cool.
Solid. Thanks, Katie.
Thanks.
Ooh, I don't know how to stop recording. Oh my God.